This is Leo Bayview for KTWH 99.5 Two Harbors Community Radio. We're visiting this morning with three people from Lake County wearing various hats. If you could, when I introduce you, if you could tell me your position with the county. We have Mr. Brad Jones.
Yes, thank you for having me here today. I am the commissioner that represents the 3rd District within Lake County, and that district is within the city limits of Two Harbors.
Does it include only part of the city, Brad, or certain wards?
Yeah, certain wards. The 1st and the 3rd ward. It's a little over half of the city in population.
And I have Mr. Nate Ide.
Correct.
It's not Ide, it's Ide.
It's Ide. I'm from the south.
Ah. And what hat are you wearing today, Nate?
All right. Today I'm wearing the land commissioner hat, and at times I'll often take off that hat and put on my bike helmet. So
that's good. That affords more protection, I think, than your land commissioner
I should
hat.
probably wear that all the time.
Yeah. And oh wow. And I'm blanking out. Matt, I've lost your last name.
Matt Huddleston.
That is very embarrassing, but I have to fess up.
Easy to forget.
Matt is our Lake County Administrator. Is there a full title there that I'm missing?
Nope, it is officially the County Administrator now.
Excellent. And so you're wearing the hat of kind of the one who sees the big picture?
Try to.
We're gathered today because there's been recently some exciting news about the possible development of an intricate mountain bike system in Lake County. I was wondering which of you gentlemen would take on the narrative of how that came to pass, where it's at right now.
Sure, I can do that. This is Nate. So we started a Lake County comprehensive trail plan that included all types of trails, ATV, snowshoe, snowmobile, anything that needs a trail. And out of that plan came a couple key recommendations, one of which is what we're talking about today, is the recognition that mountain bikes and mountain bike trails are growing in popularity in the area, and Lake County has some pretty unique opportunities to exploit some of the popularity that's happening. So that's where we are. That's what kind of got us started. That was kind of the county commissioners recognizing the need for kind of getting our thoughts together and putting them down on paper, and that helps specifically for funding when it shows funders that you're well thought out. This is not just some crazy idea that your land commissioner came up with. So that kind of got it started, and we've done from there. We applied for designation as being regionally significant with the Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission. Out of that application, we got ranked high, which kind of gave us the go-ahead to go do some in-depth master planning, and that's where we are right now in the master planning process.
Fantastic. But by being rated high doesn't mean that there's necessarily there's no money behind that assurance that you're a highly rated one, or in fact, does it bear some weight down the road when you're going for a grant?
It's kind of the first step in that grant process to be regionally ranked, regionally significant, showing that they want to give money to parks and trails that are regionally significant, not just your kind of local trail system that just the locals use, but something that people are going to come from a long ways and use and enjoy.
And this is Matt. I think the important thing is to keep in mind that there's many different sources of funding. And in this one pot that we're going after for Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails funds, being selected, approved as regionally significant is a step in actually being able to apply for those funds. If you're not designated this, you're not going to move forward in that.
So it speaks to the eligibility that you guys are looking at a project that has legs. It makes sense to apply for this grant.
At first glance, just the 2 pages of application that we turned in was good enough for them to say, yeah, this really makes sense. You've got something worth pursuing here.
So to understand it better, does the master plan specify in great detail what kind of exact, the physical layout, the placement of the trails, not that level of detail?
No, not yet. That takes a trail planner, boots on the ground, a significant amount of time and money from the county to pay him to go out and do that. Hanging flags. This is where this feature is going to be, and this is where that's going to be. Right now we just have lines on a map drawn on a paper map.
We have a notice of of a public meeting on May 25th at 6:30 at the Law Enforcement Center in Two Harbors, and that will be for the public. Will it be more to listen to the public's thoughts, or are you both presenting what you're talking about today to me and our listeners? Are you presenting that again and then looking for people's ideas or concerns?
Yeah, I believe so. That ARDC is running the show, and I believe what their plans are is to present what we've come up with so far, and then to just ask for any sort of input that we might have missed along the way.
And if I can just add to that,
Yeah.
This is Matt again. I think in part of that process and what we're going to convey is a vision statement of what we're trying to do with bike trails. We've identified 5 different areas within the county through our comprehensive trails planning process where we feel are great spots for trails. And one in particular where we do have lines on paper, as Nate said, or a conceptual idea of where those trails might go. That will be one of the focal points as well of this process of conveying this area between Split Rock State Park and the city of Beaver Bay on 6,500 acres of county land, what an idea of what a trail could look like in that area. And we're looking to get public input
Yeah.
as well as provide information to the public on what's going on. We're looking for also feedback from the public in terms of what we've put together and take those comments and considerations, taking those into play when we finalize our master plan and bring that forward back to the board.
So even though it's early days in this, would you let the listeners have a sense of what could be possible on that 6,500 acres? What kind of system, what
Sure.
length, and what variety, and what amenities it would have?
Right, so I'll put my bike helmet on now. That's one of our family's favorite thing to do is go mountain biking. And I've got 3 little boys, 2, 5, and 7, and they love to mountain bike already. The 2-year-old's got his first bike, so it's really fun. So one of the things that we like to stress on this is with so many acres in such a big area, we can do a lot of different things. So one of our plans is to go from the beginner all the way up to the guy or gal that comes from a long ways away that's used to riding out west or in the mountains. That sort of riding is very technical stuff that would just blow your mind that these people are riding on, and how do they make it out alive? All the way down to where my 5-year-old can ride. So that's kind of the range of opportunities that we like. One of the niches of this property is its wilderness feel. A lot of the trails that we ride at are like in Duluth. You're in Duluth, and they're really neat trails, but you're still in Duluth. You don't get that sense of wilderness that this area will offer. So that backcountry wilderness type of trail with many miles up to 50 miles, maybe more, with just a lot of different types of riding.
I think Nate brought up a good point. Is there's other trails in our region, the city of Duluth, Cuyuna, that have different and wonderful opportunities for mountain biking, and we think this adds a different, unique aspect that really helps our region, helps our area become potentially a international or national destination for people to come mountain biking. And one other point to that is the winter biking aspect of it. Fat tire biking is becoming really popular. We have people coming in throughout the year looking for those opportunities, and this trail we believe can add 15 miles, we're not even sure the exact amount, can add a beautiful amount of fat tire biking trails for people to come visit this area in the winter as well.
And this is Brad, and if I can add to this conversation too, for the county, it's 6,500 acres that isn't productive for timber management. So if we can find an alternate use and help to stimulate the tourism economy, it feels like a great use to us. And it complements Split Rock. The views and the vistas there are incredible, of the lake, of course. But something that may not be considered by many people are the views behind it of the ridges and the topography back there. It's really a special place.
So what you're speaking to is even when you get away from the lake view, you're looking at these north-facing boreal forest vistas that are kind of like, it's a wilderness experience on a bike.
Right.
We get that on canoes around
Right.
here, but not necessarily on bikes.
Yep. And I've been out west to the mountains, and it almost makes you feel like you're in the mountains. You've got lots of terrain, lots of forest. It's a really neat experience back in there.
Well, I think that what Brad just spoke to was an interesting point, because I had thought about how the public might be concerned about taking 6,500 acres that the county ostensibly manages to try to get the most return to the public. But what you're saying, Brad, is that this is land that isn't really prime forest management territory.
Yeah, as you can imagine, there really isn't a lot of topsoil, and it's not productive to harvest timber up there. The terrain makes it very treacherous and difficult, and access is difficult. So
And you actually make more problems than you benefit if you try doing a massive road
Right.
campaign, building roads.
Right. So when I'm talking about this project to loggers, one logger in particular says, "Oh, that makes perfect sense. We can't get there anyway." So,
Oh.
even a logger thinks it's a great idea. So he's going to be out there. I just can't wait.
And just hearing that makes me wonder about just how rugged some of this dang stuff is. I'm a road biker, so I get a little panic stricken when I'm afraid to walk into a valley and you're leading people down the single track into it.
Right.
You really do come up the other side?
We hope so. Yeah. And rescue people worry about it too. How are we going to get back there? And one of the things we've recognized is having some sort of main access trail that you can get an ATV down, so that
Right.
if something bad happens, we can at least get close.
Do people generally ride with some kind of, well, they have a phone on them so that they can be, let's say they have this problem and they just call 911. There may not be reception, first off.
Right. Yeah. And most mountain biking is a kind of a social sport. And most people ride with a group.
I see. So
Yeah,
there's
right.
people to go for help.
Yeah.
Okay. You would invite people who have any interest at all to this public meeting on the 25th, I assume.
Absolutely.
It's a
Yep.
good time to hear about concerns we might not have thought of here today.
Right.
What would be the process going forward then, moving towards actually securing the funding, and what would be the timeline for when we might actually see this come to fruition? A trail system rather than the plan.
Yeah. So our master plan needs to be submitted to this commission, and they will go through and rank it. That's near the end of June, I believe. And then after, depending on how that ranking goes, we would be asking for money in the fall, and we won't see the money until next year sometime. So next year would probably be a design and permitting phase, and then 2018 would be construction, if all goes well.
Realizing that that could be as soon as a couple of years down the road, people, there's also, in addition to building the actual trail, we'll need access points and a little bit of building of infrastructure. Is that going to be funded from grants as well, or is maybe they're going to have to be? I'm looking at Brad. I'm wondering, the commissioner is ready to fund some of the access infrastructure, if you will, porta potties, parking
Sure.
lots.
yeah, thank you for that question.
Yeah, I'm
At the-
sorry.
No, it's fine. No, it's a very real question. The county board at this time is supportive of this project. We really see this as potential economic development. It really surprises me at the numbers that Cuyuna brings in to their communities through mountain biking. I was shocked when it's literally millions of dollars
Wow.
annually.
Okay.
It's very
Did not know.
impressive. Yeah. So that makes it easier for us to support this. It will hopefully spur some more business and some more options for people in that part of the county especially. But of course it should benefit everyone, including Two Harbors, as the traffic passes through. So that part of it's easy. We've committed at this time to supporting the application process. We're pushing that forward, and we're comfortable with that. We're comfortable at this time with committing to some maintenance. What that looks like, we're not really sure yet how much maintenance that will take, but we are committed to that, and we've given the go-ahead on that. And we think that we will want a trailhead and parking somewhere, and we're hoping that it will be probably close to the Beaver Bay, the community of Beaver Bay somewhere. We're under the impression now that some of these events actually have attendance of up to 1,500 people. And there's other events for high school kids, their mountain bike teams, and there's a whole new avenue of things here that I wasn't aware of when we started the process.
So there's a potential beyond any, government support infrastructure. We may need more new businesses to serve some of the demand that's going to be created.
Bike shops, restaurants, and
I think
motel
that's the
rooms,
hope.
campgrounds, yes.
That's the
what we
hope, that
want.
it will drive new business. I think to your earlier question, the infrastructure, roads, trailhead, those are things we're looking for in the grant process. So right now
Okay.
we're looking to apply for those and have, whether it's bathrooms or a parking lot, And we're just working out the details of where those areas could specifically be. We're working with private landowners and businesses and folks around the trail area to try
Okay.
to finalize those plans.
And because mountain bikers apparently are some of the most gung-ho, enthusiastic people on earth, I get the sense from looking at least in Duluth, that clubs may form that could become partners to make this an easier haul to maintain.
Right. Anybody out there, we'd love to have you get a hold of one of us, and we're looking to form a club, and that would be a great way. The model's already there with Duluth, and nearly every bike trail's got a club. You know, they're really the passionate people that are out there, you know, fundraising, and they're doing the maintenance and on weekends, and the passion behind these clubs for their trails is just incredible, and there's lots of support. So we're looking for a Lake County mountain bike club.
And it sounds like you could be a charter member.
I probably will be.
Nate, just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
with the system still, somewhere in the future, where do the serious mountain bikers go in Lake County these days? Or maybe you don't, it's like a fishing hole, you don't want to tell me.
Right. No, Duluth's really fun. That's the closest. So that's, depending on what you want, you got all types, whether it's lift service, Spirit Mountain flying down the hill, or Lester with its kind of flowy rolling trails. Depending on who I'm with is where I'll go. But we also like to go, out to Cuyuna is pretty fun. It's, the community there is it's just a fun place to be. Cuyuna's really rallied around their bike trails, so they're, coffee shops, and they're really catering to the bike community, and that community notices it. It's made lists of top trails in the nation. So I know I'm a little biased, but I think we might be able to beat them.
So
Well,
not a
within-
far-fetched vision that
No.
we may be
Yeah,
doing
we're-
one better than some of these even.
Yeah, just you got Lake Superior, and that's just hard to beat.
I
And
agree.
Within Lake County, though, Nate, we have the Heck of the North race. They use the forestry roads, and demonstration forest is available for people to bike.
Right.
And I'm sure must be some other areas that are.
So right now, the biking scene in Lake County is the gravel riding, and we've got a lot of gravel roads, and that's where I'll be most weekends, is on my gravel bike, and just on the back roads exploring. So, but my mountain bike gets kind of lonely every once in a while.
Well, this has been an excellent kind of introduction to the subject. I hope to hear a lot more about it, folks, after the public meeting and the plan is out. And would you mind coming back in to give us some updates? I would love to hear.
No
KTWH listeners would love to hear. We've been speaking to Matt Huddleston, Lake County Administrator, Nate Ide, and Nate from the Forestry Department.
Right.
I'll say that. And Brad Jones, County Commissioner from Two Harbors. Thank you, folks, for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.